Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And now we see them, and boy, oh boy, do we have an episode here for you guys. So get your popcorn and get ready, because we got a lot to say. So let me get into this topic here. You know, sports media is a very funny thing. The reason I say this is because we in the media, what we like to do is take events that have occurred and try to create a story or a narrative around it. We all do this, me included, right? I'm not sitting here speaking like, oh, I'm holier than thou. No. We all do it, and it's a part of sports because people enjoy stories. So this is commonplace in sports. But one of the biggest narratives out there over the last few years has been that this surrounded the 73-9 Warriors team. Because a lot of people have tried to say that the 73-9 Warriors team were the greatest team of all time. And all time in NBA history, they're the greatest team. Why? Because if you look at their regular season record, they won the most games in NBA history. And they beat the Chicago Bulls, the 72-10 Bulls, who were the previous holders of that record. So a lot of people said this has to be the greatest team of all time. And if you look at their regular season record, yes, that would make sense. Except, how can that team be the greatest team of all time, but they did not win the NBA championship that season? I think at one point Tom Brady was on the New England Patriots, and they had a record. I think they were like 16-0 in the regular season, and I think they were trying to go undefeated for the entire season, and they didn't do that. And he said, then if we're not undefeated, I think they didn't win the Super Bowl that year or something like that. They were like, then this cannot be the greatest team of all time because we didn't complete the job. And that's essentially what happened with that 73-9 Warriors team. They had the greatest regular season record, and they lost in the NBA Finals. So it always perplexed me when people tried to say that they were the greatest team of all time. So I was like, okay, why do you say this? Now, some people out there have tried to frame an argument and put forward a case to say that no, this team is the greatest team of all time because they had the best record. And one of those people has always been Nick Wright. That's one of the biggest arguments he uses. And his favorite player of all time, LeBron James, has also used that very same argument by saying, I became the greatest player of all time when I beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. That's the argument that he used. But today, it seemed as if Chris Broussard, who was on First Things First, wasn't having any of it when they asked him who he thought which team was the best team in NBA history. So for those of you guys who missed this back and forth, we're going to play it right now and come back and react to it because we're going to have a lot of fun on this video. Take a listen to that.
Good history, Nick. Real talk. That was good. Let me address quickly the 72 Lakers. I wouldn't say they're the best ever, or in the discussion, they had obviously a tremendous lineup, but half the best players in the world at that time were in the ABA, including Dr. J. So sure. I have to take them out of that. Then with the Sixers, I'm glad you mentioned him, because for a long time, I have thought that they were arguably the best team ever with Dr. J and Moses Malone. But I'm going to go, not surprisingly, with the Chicago Bulls of 1996, Michael Jordan and the Bulls. God. And I'm going to try to look at this objectively. I'm going to try to look at this objectively. All right, you know I'm the facts over feelings guy. And here's the facts.
True.
They had the best regular season ever, 72 wins. That year, they had the number one defense, the number one offense and the number one defense in the league. Let's compare them to the 2017 Warriors, who had the number one offense. Both of them, by the way, offensive ratings, 115. All right, so the Bulls, that's what everybody would think. Oh, the Warriors' advantage would be the offense, but the Bulls had the same offensive ratings. So that's a wash. Defensively, the Bulls were the best in the league. Golden State was second best in the league, but the Bulls' rating, 101. Golden State's 104. Here's the difference, Nick, between 3 points in defensive rating. I want to make it plain for the viewers. That's the difference between Toronto, Utah, and Philadelphia. 3 good defensive teams this year. And the Lakers this year. Okay, that's the type of difference we're talking about with 3 defensive points in defensive rating. So that's how much better that Bulls team defensively was than that Warriors team defensively. 3 of the 4 best defenders in that series would play for the Bulls. Pippen, Rodman, and Jordan. All right? Then the Bulls had a much tougher road to go through. You like the Sixers in 83. I liked them too. But the Bulls could handle size. They beat Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway, 2 Hall of Famers in the first round. They beat Patrick Ewing in the second round. They swept Shaq and Penny in the third round and then handled Shawn Kemp and Gary Payton in the finals. 4 great big men. At that time, Kemp was even a great big man. Let's see who the Warriors went through. The Warriors went through Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard in the first round. Okay. They went through Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward. Donovan Mitchell wasn't even in Utah at the time. 2 guys I know you love, Gordon Hayward and Rudy Gobert. Okay. The third round, they went through LaMarcus Aldridge and a 39-year-old Manu Ginobili. Kawhi got hurt in the first game. All right. Then they faced some real competition in the finals with Cleveland. All right. Not to mention the best player in the game, in the series, would obviously be with the Bulls, Michael Jordan. But not only the best player, the best clutch player. And Nick, this seals the deal. Jordan was obviously clutch. He's got the most game-winning buzzer beaters in NBA history with 9. Guess how many Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson have combined? 4. Durant's got 3 of them, and he hasn't hit one since 2012. Now, let me finish. Durant's got 3 of them, hadn't hit one since 2012. Okay? Steph has never hit one in the playoffs. 0 for 9. I would think these games might be close. And if they're close, I'm going with the guy that's more clutch than the rest of the whole team. Oh, and finally, while I was about the clutch thing, I'm going with the fact. Can I finish? I'm going with the facts.
Yeah.
All right. The Warriors, the Bulls never went 7 games with anybody. The Warriors, that entire team, every one of them has the experience of blowing a 3-1 lead. Durant in Oklahoma City blows a 3-1 lead to the Warriors in the conference finals, and then those same Warriors blow it to the Cavs. So objectively, I just stated a bunch of facts, not feelings, not suppositions, not opinions. Those are all facts.
Now, let me quickly say this. When he was, in regards to, the defensive rating argument, that was a hell of I gotta stand up and clap for him, man. That was a hell of a point that he brought up, and an excellent point. I had to go back and really analyze it, and I decided I'm gonna, incorporate some of that into my basketball analysis in the way that I think, because it was a fantastic argument. If you go back and look at the defensive rating, you look at the delta between, the number 1 team or the team that had the best one in the Los Angeles Lakers, it's a real thing. Like if we was talking about the Toronto Raptors, the delta between the defensive ratings, those 2 teams, is true. It's true. Like it's what's the word? It's a big difference, right? I couldn't think of the term that I wanted to. But anyway, let's get back into what he's actually saying. I think another thing he could have used is also the opponents, total opponents PPG allowed, or total points that were allowed by opponents of the Chicago Bulls. I think that year gave up about 102 points, 102.9 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. So they also held opponents close to that 100-point mark. And if you can do that, you're a hell of a basketball team, in my opinion. But what I want you guys to take notice of was how Nick Wright was reacting towards the end of Chris Broussard's monologue. It got so bad that at certain points he started interrupting him. And then Chris Broussard finally said, "Let me talk. Let me speak, for God's sakes." And this is what usually happens. Whenever you bring up this Michael Jordan thing, whenever Jordan brings this out of the Nick Wrights of the world, he brings all of this emotion out of these guys because they cannot stand hearing the truth. It seemed as if, as the more Chris Broussard was talking, he was the more he was growing tired of actually hearing the truth, to the point where he said, "Chris Broussard, these are not my feelings. I'm giving you the facts of the matter." And it started to bother him. Nick's goal was to eliminate Jordan from the entire conversation. That's his entire shtick. That's what he does. That's his MO. He tries to omit Jordan. It was just like when he said that stupid, ridiculous, idiotic comment during the All-Star weekend when they were celebrating the 75 greatest players of all time. And when Michael Jordan walked into the room, because he's clearly the best player in the world, and people still know it after 20 plus years of him not even dribbling a bloody basketball, he walked into that place and everybody stood up for him in Cleveland. Just imagine the two reasons. Number one, the team he had broken their heart so many times in the playoffs, and the home of King James. The real king walked in the building, and at the end of all of that, Nick Wright turned around and said that was the last time Michael Jordan was going to be relevant. Like these are the type of idiotic, stupid things that this guy says on a daily basis. My thing is to the people that think that, listen, here's the bottom line. Jordan was the best, is the best, was the best. He is the best, period. Some of y'all need to get over this thing. Get over it. Go look for another fight and go fight that one. Go argue another thing. This ain't the argument for you guys, because there's no argument you can make. If you're not bringing Kareem, if you're not bringing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I don't even want to hear anything you have to say. I don't. These guys cannot stand the fact that Michael Jordan is still the king of the sport. They cannot stand that fact. And he's like, why, Jordan? It has to, because it's the truth, bro. He's only saying it because it's true. He's not saying it. It's not like as if he says that Michael Jordan's team is going to send him a check for 50 grand for saying, hey, man, good job for keeping it up, for keeping my name, my legacy alive. No, he's just saying the truth. And that whole complaining is coming from the very same guy that owes his entire professional career on TV to Michael Jordan. Because the only time the moment Nick Wright became relevant was when he came out on Undisputed in 2016 and sat up there with a straight face and said LeBron James had already passed Michael Jordan in 2016 after he beat the Golden State. It was this same Nick Wright that said that was the moment we took notice of him. If it wasn't for that statement, no one would care. So you owe Jordan a little bit more respect because he made you relevant. Had you not said that, nobody would be paying attention to you. They'll just say this is a guy that has a lot of wacky basketball takes. But you came out there and you said that. You basically try to build your career on this guy's back by saying such a ridiculous thing. He was the first, as I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Nick Wright is the only person I've ever heard that talked about basketball that said at no point in time in Kobe Bryant's career was he ever the best player. He is the only person I have heard say this. The only one. Everybody else gave Kobe his except this guy. And what was bothering him was that Chris Broussard was spitting way too many facts, and it started to bother him. When we had to sit back and listen to that nonsense that he was saying, there was no issues. Chris Broussard quietly listened to it. That's why I said, Chris Broussard, if you ever see one of our videos, I got to commend you, because you have a very big threshold for nonsense. You can really deal with it. You're a lot better than I am. I'm telling you. For him to be putting up with that on a daily, it is something. Chris Broussard sat there and listened to you. Then the moment he tried to respond, oh, it has to be Jordan. So instead of complaining about the fact that he's saying Jordan, prove what he's saying is wrong. And this is what they can't do. So I'm so thankful that this guy called him out once again. This guy just won't stop. They won't stop. Trust me, I know. Every single day they're going to come to our channel. They do it every day. People that will swear that they hate our content, that they think we're trash. Still, if we publish a video, within the first 10 to 15 minutes, they'll be there commenting about it. Yet they think we're trash. These guys won't stop. Thank God for Chris Broussard today. You did a hell of a job. If you ever see this video, man, I really salute you. That was a hell of a job. Hell of a job. These are my thoughts and opinions. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.